Good evening. I'm Greer McGeary, President of Seahorse Victoria, and with me is my guest, Meredith Lee, the second time that she's appeared with us on Bent TV. Welcome, Meredith.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
The last time that we did meet, Meredith, you were telling us about how you interact at work as both your male and female self. Could you recap a little bit about that?
After many years of hiding my female self in certain environments like work, I got tired of it, and one year I decided to come out at work, and it went pretty well. So I ended up starting to come to work as Meredith, not alternating, but once a week or so. And it got to the point where they asked me about it, and everyone was fine with it, and they just wanted to know what they should do as far as policy, and so they wrote inclusion policy officially, and now I show up at work. Well, given the lockdown situation, it's all online, but yeah, they know me as both, and I have a little profile picture that has both of me. And yeah, it seems to be not an issue.
Yeah, that's really quite a fantastic way to be accepted for who you are. Obviously every individual has an identity, not necessarily male, female like we do, but they're different personalities and things like that. So how does that make you feel as an individual?
I feel very, very lucky, very privileged. I know that it's not this easy for a lot of people, and that a lot of people don't have the kind of supportive environment that I happen to. My workplace is amazing, and my colleagues are amazing. The only real issue I have is the IT systems at work are not designed to handle two completely different names for one identity, one person. So it sort of gets mixed up when they don't really know how to refer to me, like in official communications and stuff. But yeah, there's not much I can do about that. My male name is Derek, and if they refer to me as Derek because that's what the computer says, then that's fine. It's not like I don't like being Derek. So it works for me. It's curious, though.
Yeah. It's interesting about computer information about identities and things like that. Recently, I had some health scares, as it were, to necessitating me going to an emergency department at the hospital, and the nurse at the triage system sort of said, "Oh, look, we can do this. We can put in your preferred names and your preferred gender identity, as well as your legal names and legal identity." And they were very supportive, and it made the process of going to the emergency department really one of those experiences. So, well, they just accept me for who I am, and they're going to treat the issue as they found it. So, in essence, is that what's happening with you?
With the people, absolutely. If I show up as Meredith, they treat me as Meredith. If I show up as Derek, they treat me as Derek. The only reason that it's difficult with the IT systems is that, like, they've even got a preferred name field, but it wasn't written in anticipation of the preferred name being a completely different name, including the surname. So that caused a couple of problems. So we've actually managed to hack my employee record so that whenever it exports anything, it comes out Meredith Lee / Derek Moon. So my preferred name is, I think it's Meredith Lee / I can't remember how we did it, but it's it comes out like that more often than not, which is, it works for me.
Yeah, and the main thing, I suppose, too, is that the fact that your work has been so supportive in helping you express both sides of your identity. But Having had that conversation 2 years ago about your work environment, the supportive nature of it, what are the things that have happened to you since then?
At work, a couple of things have happened. We've all gone into lockdown, of course, with COVID. And we've had some new team members join our team, new employees. And so that's kind of an interesting situation where we'll have a meeting and then everyone will go around and introduce themselves and I'll be like, has anyone told this new person that I'm actually two people? And how I look today might be different than how I look tomorrow. And they're going to have to get used to this strange situation. So that's had to happen a few times. But the new people that have joined us seem fine. They just roll with it, and it's just what it is. It's really nice living in a day and age where most people seem to be fine with diversity like this.
One of the things that I found with all the things that I do, and as I said, the experience with the recent health issue, and also going to get my vaccination jabs, the turning up dressed as I am now, and not one of the staff there blinking an eye, is to, here's my legal paperwork says one thing, but I'm presenting different on this occasion. So having now sort of this experience of really a supportive work environment, what are you finding are the things that are interesting you outside of work?
For the past several years, I've got involved in this group on Facebook. It's called I Love to Op Shop. At first, I didn't reveal that I was transgender because I wasn't really sure how it would be taken. At the time I joined, there were like 20 or 30,000 people in this group. Not all of them active. It is, there's only a handful of active people that post a lot, but there's a lot of lurkers, and there's going to be a lot of diversity of opinion in that many people. So I thought it would be best that if I'm showing some of the things that I find, that I would like crop my head out of the photo and whatnot. But eventually I came out, and the response was great. Everyone is really supportive. And actually, since then, a few other trans people have come out in the group, and it's just no big deal. We're just other people who like to op shop and show off the things that we find, and it's really heartening that there is that much acceptance, and it's not even like, sometimes it's not even something to be commented on because yeah, I'm trans, but it's kind of irrelevant to this cool thing that I'm showing you. So yeah, it's been great.
So with op shopping, obviously there are many stores around. So what are the favourite stores that you like to go op shopping in?
The nature of op shopping is that you'll just find treasures when you find them, and that's what's fun for me. Is my wardrobe is full enough that I don't need anything, so I just stop and I just I'll look for stuff that's cool or different or pretty, and it's great because you can experiment, particularly for like a trans person who's coming out and doesn't have a big wardrobe. You can experiment. Is this going to look good on me? I don't know. What's $5? Why not give it a try? If it doesn't look good on you, donate it back. It's like renting clothes almost, just to see what you like.
I think my taste is probably a little bit more expensive than op shop at times, so, and I've got a very full wardrobe. But I do enjoy the occasional op shopping, and as you say, you can experiment with styles of clothes that you wouldn't normally probably consider from a normal retail shop. In having been involved in this online op shopping, has it led to any other sort of interaction in the community?
Absolutely. First, I want to say that don't confuse op shopping with like bargain basement, low rent, daggy clothes. What I'm wearing now, this was op shopped. This is actually a rather expensive jacket. If I were to buy it new, you can find some really, really nice things at the op shops. But to answer the question about where that's taken me, I have met some amazing people. I've met some very, very close friends through this group. Everyone's so supportive. I was approached by a woman at the end of 2019 who was putting on a fashion show of sorts with a little bit of a difference in that it was a fashion show for women by women of any, as long as you identified as a woman. And it was to shed and break the stereotypes and the shackles of what society thinks a woman should be and how a woman should be. And so we had a huge range of diverse people. And it was just the most amazing experience. There were 30 models. I was one of them. Quite a few trans women. There were disabled women, women of color, just from all walks of life. And it was more amazing than anyone could have expected. The follow-on from that has just been amazing. It changed my life. And I think it changed the lives of a lot of people, even some of the people in the audience. I mean, the vibe in the room, there were about 300 people. We did this just before the first lockdown, so we were so lucky. I would not have had the opportunity if I hadn't been out in the op shop group.
So when you say it's changed your life, obviously, when you do activities and you reflect upon where your life is and being able to be out, in effect, in the big wide world. So what were the aspects of changing your life that really surprised you?
I think it just helped me with my confidence, and it gave me a perspective on other people and their lives and where they might be at and their situations, their experiences. It exposed me to a lot more than I had seen prior to that. So it really enriched me as a person, just knowing that the kinds of people that are in our community and what they have to offer.
I remember going to that one that you talked about there in Collingwood, when you walked out on that stage to sort of present your little portion of what it's like to be a woman. What were you looking at when you looked out over the audience?
To be honest, I was quite nervous at the time, and I was trying not to trip on my gown, and I wasn't really paying attention to the audience. I was just trying to do my walk without messing anything up. And it turns out I went way too fast, and I finished my walk before my song had even finished. So, it was... I don't remember what the audience looked like at that point.
Afterwards, so when you then sort of were off stage and were mingling with everyone in the audience, did you have time to reflect on what it was doing for you?
I don't know that I reflected on it so much, other than rather it was like swimming in it. It's like, do you reflect on the ocean that you're swimming in? On the day, I think we were just amazed and blown away by the feeling in the room and the energy that everyone had. It was one of those things you can't really describe. And I've tried for a year and a half now to explain this to people, and unless you were there, there's no way I can capture that.
Following on from that, I gather that this will occur again, this particular event. Is that a probability?
It is being planned, and in fact, it was originally supposed to happen in October, and as of 2 days ago, they have postponed it because this lockdown keeps continuing. It is now scheduled for next March, once again to coincide with International Women's Day. The event is called This Is Me. They're planning it, and it will happen.
From that experience, I gather that's led to some other interesting activities that you've been involved in since.
Yes, one of the other models, her name is Miss Catalina. She's an amazing, amazing woman. She was doing She was the host of a cooking show produced by Thorne Harbour Health. And in 2020, there were 6 or 7 episodes of the show. It was a showcase for LGBTQIA plus people of color from multicultural backgrounds to bring a dish and cook a dish of a meal that demonstrated and somehow explained what their culture was about and how that intersected with their sexuality or gender identity or whatever it might be that made them diverse. And it was a really neat show, and I enjoyed watching all of them. And then I was talking to Miss Catalina. She was saying, well, we're doing a season 2. And I think you should apply for this because it's, you'll have something to bring to this. I'm like, what? Me apply for that? I don't even have like an awesome dish that I can cook, really.
Obviously, you enjoy cooking anyway at home. Is that the case?
I do enjoy cooking some things. I'm not a chef. I don't have a big repertoire or anything, but I did end up perfecting a dish called mapo tofu, which I submitted, and I made an application. I had to do a little video, and they selected me. And there were 6 episodes, 6 people this season, and it was another absolutely amazing experience. So I got to go on this show, and there was a kitchen and a full set and a production crew and makeup artist, and I made this dish, and it was amazing. I struggled to find the words to convey just what kinds of amazing things I have been able to do and the opportunities I've been given since we last spoke.
Interesting that you are able to present such a dish in a full production crew. I do remember seeing it, and it really came across as a very professionally done episode.
It was my first real experience with, production TV or video or whatever, and it was entirely positive. You hear some horror stories about things happening on set, but it was not, everything. I couldn't have complained about anything. It was, everyone was very professional and attentive and supportive, and they knew that the guests hadn't necessarily been on TV before, and so they weren't, they were, what's the word I'm looking for? Gentle and encouraging, and they understood that this was all new, and they were just so welcoming.
Was it filmed over a whole day or a couple of days?
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, I was at the set for like 7 hours. So
before going to do the recording, did you do a lot of practice cooking at home to ensure that you perfected the recipe and the timing of doing things?
Yes, yeah, that had to be done, absolutely. Even before the recipe was submitted in the application, you really had to have something that was gonna pretty much guaranteed be gonna work.
With that experience of having, been in a full production of doing something that you do sort of enjoy, if not, on a full-time basis, but enjoy your cooking and things like that. What sort of followed on from there?
Nothing as of yet. That's a pretty recent thing. I continue to be active in the Op Shop group. I am involved in This Is Me for the next one in March. I'm not a model, but I'll be mentoring and assisting on the day. It's kind of difficult with all the lockdowns happening. You never know when you're going to be stuck at home. So I haven't really made a lot of plans as such. I've just learned to just roll with whatever happens, which seems to have worked for me pretty well so far, because that's kind of how these opportunities happen to me.
Well, things do sort of happen like that at times. Just the opportunity arises because you happen to be in the right place at the right time, and it's amazing where it goes. The fact that you've been involved in these 2 fairly high-profile public events of This Is Me early last year and the appearing on the Ben Spoon, does that have any impact on your family as such?
Not really, to be honest. My kids just kind of do what they do, and I'm just the daggy parent who does the parent things. My wife, my wife doesn't really get involved in me being Meredith.
Part of the reason I read it, because I know a lot of people do struggle with lockdown and that sort of sense of isolation or confinement in a small world. So it's good to sort of see that from what you're saying is that you're able to roll with the punches, and of course you work from home, as it were, because most of your work's an online style of work. But I was just sort of trying to work out whether that sort of bit of higher profile public appearances that you've had in working in that, living in that more confined space was having much of an impact. But it sounds like it doesn't.
It is kind of a contrast, really, when you think about it. Being stuck in this house, yet having the potential to reach, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people online. But it really isn't any different than anything else that's done online. It's just the way the world works nowadays. So I'm really fortunate, and my family's quite fortunate that we are not severely impacted by the lockdown. It does, it sucks being stuck inside and you can't go out and see your friends and things, but that's more or less the extent of it for us. So we are really lucky.
It sort of means that I've got to do a lot more online, the Zoom calls, trying to make connection with family via phone calls or text message and things like that. Interaction with a wider group of people is a very important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how we would cope without the internet and the ability to connect with people socially online. It really is. It's making it bearable to go through this period that we're all going through here. There's another group that meets on Zoom on Saturday afternoons that I'm a part of, and that's been quite valuable in keeping connected with the community. Yeah, without this online stuff, I don't know, it would be probably a bit of a different story.
I have another group that I'm involved in, and we have fairly regular meetings on Zoom, and it just provides that interaction with a much broader group of people. Meredith, I think the story that has occurred since we last spoke on air 2 years ago has been really an interesting one, particularly that meeting people through the op shop group and how that led to the Ben Spoon cooking show that you're involved in, and just that interaction with a wider group of people that we probably wouldn't otherwise be involved with has been interesting to hear about.
It's been very interesting to live through too, and I'm very thankful. It's I feel very lucky, very, very lucky.
Oh, it's a very uplifting story, Meredith, and thank you for chatting to us this evening. It's lovely to sort of follow up earlier interviews so that the bigger, wider world can sort of see that yes, we can enjoy our lives and make the most of the opportunities that present themselves with. So, thank you for taking this opportunity to chat with me tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm Greer McGeary. My guest tonight has been Meredith Lee. Thank you for watching Bent TV.